You are listening to Fantha Tracks.
Because of the following special program, Wonder Woman and the Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
I got Fantha.
It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file.
That doesn't sound too hard.
Boom! This is Making Tracks.
This is the way.
Here are your hosts, Mark Newbold and Mark Mulcaster.
I know these people. They are brutal. Does this look Jedi to you?
That's not how the Force works.
They'll never see it coming.
Count me in.
You're listening to Making Tracks. This is episode 244. I'm your co-host Mark Newbold, and joining me today is a man who loves his lists. Yes, lists. It's Mark Mulcaster. Mark, how are you doing?
I don't have a list. I'm all right.
Last week we went through our Q&As, thinking that we would get through all of them in one fell swoop. No, we didn't. We got halfway through them because there were so many. Thank you everyone for sending those questions in. So we thought we would carry on for a Q&A part 2. So you ready to dive into some more questions, Mark?
Let's do it.
From Brian Cameron. Best piece of Star Wars literature that you've read this year?
Anything that Mark Newbold wrote on Fantha Tracks which didn't have a spelling or grammar error.
Well, that's not very much, is it?
No.
My goodness. That's slim pickings there, mate.
I've enjoyed Sanctuary by Lamar Giles. I reread Revenge of the Sith.
The annotations in that are brilliant.
Yeah, annotations.
Favourite comic series of the year, Jedi Knights. I thought it was brilliant. I'm really enjoying the Han Solo Hunt for the Falcon as well, which I didn't expect to like. I thought it was a bit cheesy as a concept because we kind of know where that all goes. But actually, so far, that's been really good. There's been some real pensive, thoughtful moments of Han figuring out what he wants to do with his life, which was a depth I didn't expect to get. And also, Legacy of Vader. That really did feel to me like a stretch just to get the Vader name in the title of a comic series because Vader comics sell. And good grief, that was fantastic. It really was. I feel like I understand Kylo's motivations way more now than I did before. And I know people will say you shouldn't have to read books and comics to understand the films. I understood the films just fine, thank you very much. It adds to it. It's supplemental to it. It expands on it. If it's not the film, it's multimedia. In the 70s, if you weren't watching the film, you were reading a comic or reading the book or the read-along adventure. That's multimedia. I think people think multimedia has to be pixels and stuff. No, it doesn't. It's anything other than the film. So all of that is supplemental. It expands your knowledge. I really enjoyed it. In terms of books, I really enjoyed The Last Order. That was enjoyable. And Sanctuary, as you mentioned, I listened to the audiobook of Sanctuary and really enjoyed it. So, yeah, it's been a pretty good year.
Another one from Mark Spriggs. With the Jedi Origins film allegedly coming alongside KOTOR, is the past going to become something worth exploring once again? Perhaps with the use of Dark Horse Tales with Jedi as a source.
I think you can pull from all this history. So I think you can take that and use it because goodness knows back in Timeline Gold days, goodness knows what Leland Cheese got in his database. I doubt if we'll ever see it, but, there's things in there as well. I just think that you can pull from these things if you want to. And there's things you can do to honour that, reflect that. And also, when you look back at that Tales of the Jedi, Golden Age of the Sith, all that era of stuff. Not all of it was happening. And then that happened, then that happened, then that happened. There's massive gaps. And it's the same when you go back into the, like the KOTOR stuff or the Old Republic stuff. Some of these events are hundreds of years apart. So there's massive areas. It's another reason why I'm sad the Acolyte never caught on, because it was taking us to a new era and we could just go nuts. And as long as you stick to the staple stuff, it works and it's all fresh and new and it's still Star Wars because there's a lightsaber, there's a blaster, there's a hyperdrive, whatever. So I think, yes, you could. There's definitely an opportunity. Where are we now? We're 20 years past George Lucas mentioning at Celebration 3 that a Knights of the Old Republic film or something set in that era was not beyond his era of thinking. And here we are 20 years on and we've never had it. We had the cinematic stuff when Old Republic came out, and that's 10, 15 years ago now. There's definitely opportunities to do things. I would say yes. I think, especially Dawn of the Jedi is going even way back before that. The Dawn of the Jedi era is like 25,000 years ago. So that's way out. But nevertheless, Star Wars past, I think, is something to definitely look at in the future.
It's odd. I don't necessarily feel like they've really mined that for anything. I mean, when I was moving on my Dark Horse comic collection, it was actually quite easy for me to kind of go, okay, so long Marvel comics. But then, I started pulling out these Dark Horse ones and Tales of Naomi, Sunrider and Freedom Nad, Uprising and all that stuff.
That's right.
And I was like, crap. do I really want to get rid of these? To be fair, they made the most amount of money, some of those collections of Dark Horse stuff over Marvel when it went to auction. There's a lot in there. And I quite like it because it felt very proto-Star Wars. It still felt Star Wars, but it did feel slightly unknown, but connected in a way that I don't think they've been able to do. I don't feel like they've been brave enough to kind of go, do you know what, this is, even when it is set so far back, it's very populated. You know, you look at the Old Republic game, it's a full advanced civilization with Sith and hyperspace travel and all that kind of stuff. And so you kind of go, obviously you need that because that's the cool things that players want. But at the same time, from a world building perspective, you kind of feel like, well, where's the galaxy going? Where's the development? I know there's a bit of a sharp bell curve when it comes to like technological development, but it just feels like for Star Wars Galaxy, it kind of really flattens off, which is really interesting. And, something that, to my logic, doesn't necessarily ring true.
Next question is from Greg Robertson. You may know Greg as Darth Elvis. And indeed, Greg says, hoping someone comes along on a rescue mission to defrost Darth Elvis from carbonite. I would love nothing more than that. You are missed on Desert Planet Discs, mate. And his question is, what movie or TV show that has been in the works for some form or capacity do you hope will move forward in 2026? I'll go straight in on that one. I'll say Lando. I would love to see the Lando project. I know at the moment it's a movie. They're saying it's a movie. I think personally the Calrissian Chronicles idea would be brilliant as a TV series.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a million miles away from the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles with the bookends, with Billy D. It kind of, to me, feels like it writes itself. And there's Billy D looking at the little hologram thing that you see Donald Glover's Lando looking at in Solo. The device is right there. So I would love to see that. Because they can bring Eunice back, you can bring Alden back, the whole gang can bring Kira back if you want. It's all there if you want to do it. What about yourself?
It's like, I suppose, also depends upon what happened to Rangers of New Republic. Has that been blended into what we're going to see with Mandalorian Grogu? And
True.
It's so difficult. I mean, there's so many plates that are spinning, but like these plates are kind of spinning at different statuses, and nobody really is coming out and officially saying this is happening, this is happening. Taika Waititi's trilogy, Rian Johnson's trilogy. Some are more vocal about it than others. And you get The Hunt for Ben Solo that was literally ready to go and then gets pulled. I think it would be good for Lucasfilm, and it would probably benefit their relationship with the fans that they actually see some of the stuff that they have announced get made. The Calrissian Chronicles is a really nice way of doing it because they could just be completely standalone. It could be like episode of a week kind of stuff. And
they can refer back to the L. Neil Smith books. You've got the classic trilogy from the 80s. They can refer to, I mean, they do in Solo anyway, but they can refer to that. And there's been Marvel did a couple of comic series with Lando in the last decade. So there's things that you can touch on there. And the old Marvel stuff even. Back on Cloud City. There's things you can do.
Yeah.
I'm Corey D, and I get my Star Wars news from Fantha Tracks.
Okay, so question from Jason Brown. What current new fresh actor should be in a Star Wars?
Fresh face. I've always wanted to see Jennifer Lawrence, and she's not a fresh face anymore. She's been around for years.
Sure,
and years
appreciate
and
you
years.
saying that, mate.
I'm sure she will. So that is the lousiest reason ever. I would say Timothée Chalamet would be interesting in a certain role. He ain't no fresh face. He's a God knows how many Oscar nominations, so he's not a new face either. That's tough. There's nobody right now that's leaping out at me as a fresh new actor. Usually there's somebody in a soap that you kind of go, you're not even close to your range here. There's nobody in a soap that I look at and think, yeah, you'd be good. So really at the moment, there's not one. The only one that I can think of that I would love to see in Star Wars, and he has already kind of done Star Wars because he was a voice in Rebuild the Galaxy, was Gaten Matarazzo from Stranger Things, Dustin in Stranger Things. I think he's brilliant and he's fantastic in season 5. He's stealing the show for me right now. But he's been around for 10 years. He ain't a fresh face either. So I would like to see him do something in the realms of Star Wars and not be your kind of goofy sidekick because he's not your classic leading man look. But I think he could do that kind of work as a hero because, of course, we love all our women to be fantastic and our men to be stunning and blah, blah, blah. It's not like that in real life. I mean, look at you. So I think there's options. Happy Christmas for something interesting there. But there's no new name that honestly is leaping out of it. So sorry, Jason, that is the worst answer to a perfectly good question. What do you think, Mark? I called you a hero. You should take that well.
Yeah, I'll take that. One who I thought would be quite fun was Millie Alcock. He's going to be playing Supergirl. I thought she did a really good job in House of Dragon. When actors get to certain point, they're not really new.
Here's a great example for you. Vivian Lyra Blair, we all watched her as Leia in Kenobi and thought she was brilliant a couple of 3 years ago. She's a fresh new face and she's a great up-and-coming actor. And she'd been doing that for 4 or 5 years. She'd been in Bird Box before that. She was young, but she actually had way more experience than you would ever know. So it's tough. You get some kids who are like 15, 16 coming through. You think he'll be good. He could be a leading man, or she'll be great. She could be a leading lady. They've probably already been acting and know the ropes and know the way around a set like the back of their hand at 15. So it's just when do they come through? And Harrison Ford was 35 when he made Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that was his real breakthrough. He was in the conversation before that. He had that little bit in Graffiti. He looked younger than he was back then. He blossomed late. And wow, did he blossom. What a career.
Yeah.
But you could have looked at him as the best newcomer of 1977. You could have easily gone Harrison Ford.
Totally. I suppose I want to see more of Elizabeth Dulao from Andor.
Big thumbs up yes to that one. Another question from Mark Spriggs. It's a good one as well. Would you like to see a greater interaction between films and TV series and the way the MCU and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. initially did, or maintain a creative distance? So would you like to see them do their own thing, TV and film, or do you like the overlap? Do you appreciate the crossovers? Do you want the interaction between TV and film? Do you prefer that?
I mean, I do to an extent. The extreme is Ahsoka, which went too far. I think it's a fairly reasonable request to be able to set some characters up in a TV show and then bring them onto a movie and then kind of expect some people to be aware of who they are. I mean, it's a fine line, isn't it? Because like you kind of go, well, okay, how many people really are watching Marvel MCU stuff on Disney Plus and that? And I suppose that you kind of got to look at the metrics. Go, well, if we do something really cool with this character or introduce them on a Disney Plus streaming show, are we maybe almost throwing the baby out with the bathwater by not maybe saving that first appearance for a film? So yes, I definitely like to see some, but obviously it's a fine balance as to how much.
It is. In the short term, no. In the long term, yes, because when everything's on Disney Plus, you watch a film like you watch a TV show. It doesn't really matter, does it? So it all blends together.
So this is from Jason Ling. What has been your favourite event this year?
Oh, God, that's a killer. Festival of the Force, brand new event. Did both of them in Newark and York. Both were fantastic. Really enjoyed that. Celebration Japan was a blast. Just being in Japan was amazing. Caught up with a lot of people I've not seen for a long time and really enjoyed that. It was a joy. So that's right up there. Hearts Comic Con, which was another news show, was great fun. I've interviewed Tamira Morrison before, but I was on stage with Tamira Morrison and I managed to get about 2 questions in half an hour and watched him dance and serenade the crowd. That was huge fun. Star Wars Fan Fun Day is always brilliant. We've championed it for a long time and we will always champion it. That was wonderful. And the Surrey Star Wars Weekend, 35 guests and Koo Stark. But I've got to say, and we've already mentioned this show today, Anmore was amazing. Thank the Maker matched it, which blew my mind because I honestly didn't think that a show about a film that's been out 10 years would captivate the crowd as much as a show that had been out for a matter of months.
Yeah.
And I felt like it did. And also a huge shout out, it was the very last running of Farthest From. And I'm quietly proud to say I did the last panel on it when I spoke to Gus Lopez about his Force Awakens locations talk. Farthest From's been brilliant for years and years and years. It's been going since 2012.
Yeah.
And it was the last one this year because obviously the focus shifts now to Thank the Maker. So I will pick Anmore stroke Thank the Maker. What about you? Not that Anmore should stroke Thank the Maker. That would be weird. What about you?
Because it was the first one I've been to, I'm going to say Echo Live.
Great choice.
That was kind of a bit of a white whale for me, really, in some respects, because I'd promised and threatened to go up there and never really got up to doing it. And then did this year and, went to the Evening with the Stars and what have you. And spent a little bit of money during the day on the Saturday and did the whole thing again on October. So,
and we did have episodes from both, didn't we?
We did live episodes from both. So, we'll be back in March. Yeah, so we'll probably do it all over again.
Great answer. I didn't even think of Echo. I think of that like memorabilia, like a collectibles thing. But you're right, Echo should have been on my list. So late edition, I'll stick Echo on mine as well. Next question from Peter Davis. Best collectible of 2025?
I'm going to pick 2. So the first one is from Disneyland Paris. It's my dagger, the compass dagger from Rise of Skywalker. You actually press it and the blade switches on and glows and stuff, but it's not doing it now. But it doesn't matter because it's an audio podcast. And something I actually won in an auction at Thank the Maker. So this is definitely a reason to go up or down to Fordham Bridge and support the Thank the Maker. Is I got a commemorative coin, Primer Studios 2013 to 2019, the Creature Department. So it's a very cool challenge coin. which cost me more than a pretty penny, shall we say.
So that means there's only another 198 of those out there then, because I've got one as well.
You've got one and I've got one, yeah. So yeah, I think was it 200 or 250?
200, yeah.
Nice. There you go. So what about you?
Oh, blimey. For me, and I had to really think about it because I picked up some similar to what you've just mentioned, little crewy bits. I've finished off the Creature Shop pins this year, which was very cool. I got the ILM magician figure.
Nice.
Yeah, from ILM as well, because I obviously write for them now. But I'm going to pick, at Celebration Japan, they did a box set. It was CDs, but it looks like 7 inches, and it is music from everything right the way back. And there's probably about 12 discs in there. Nice. In a beautiful box in the Celebration sort of livery, the Vader on the white background with the red sun and all that stuff. And it's kind of a focus of mine as much as I have focuses for the music stuff. And it's absolutely gorgeous. I will pick that. There is other stuff, but right now that's the one that's sitting at the front of my mind.
For everything in one location, daily news, reviews, interviews, podcasts, video, and social media feeds, bookmark FanthaTracks.com for Star Wars news 24/7, 365.
So another question from Jason Brown. Will the 50th anniversary re-release in 2027 matter to the public in the way the special edition did in 1997 before the prequels? Funny enough, that is actually something that me and you discussed when we went to the BFI and we saw the original 35mm print. I mean, I've seen a lot of buzz online about since that kind of announcement has kind of come out. I think time will tell, because I think obviously for older fans, people who kind of maybe remember a pre-special edition version, it will matter more to them than I think will mean to the younger fans. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to pass them by or it's not going to matter. And what's going to be really cool is that there will be kids in that cinema who will see the first Star Wars as their first Star Wars film. Guarantee it. So they will have the same kind of experience you had and people who saw it back in 77 on the big screen 50 years later, which is kind of a bit mind-blowing.
It's a really good question, actually. Will it matter to the public in the same way? To the general public? No, it won't. We, as fans in the fandom, had 95 THX re-releases on VHS, 96 Shadows of the Empire, 97 special editions, 98 Phantom Menace trailer, 99, off we go. To the broader public, 96 wasn't Shadows of the Empire. They didn't even know what Shadows of the Empire was. No. So when Star Wars comes back in 97 with all new special effects, and then they were so pleased with it, they did Empire and Jedi as well. Star Wars made 130 million in the States. They held the January record for about 10 years until Cloverfield came out. So I don't see the special re-release in 2027 of the original Star Wars doing that kind of money. I hope it does. I really hope it does. But I can't see it. And even if it does, it won't matter as much, because we've had, since 97, by then, 30 years of pretty much non-stop Star Wars.
From 97, the previous film was out in 83.
Exactly.
That was a big thing. It's going to come out 5 years since Rise of Skywalker, and there's a new film coming out 2 months later. It serves a different purpose, though, doesn't it? I mean, the re-release, it's like you say, for the older fans, it's definitely a treat. For younger fans who've never seen it, who want to see it, it's an eye-opening thing. That's why it's coming out in February. It's all to tee us up for May the 4th, for Celebration, before it in the April, and then for the 50th on the 25th of May, which I really hope they celebrate it on the 25th of May and not the 4th of May, and then Starfighter. That's the big progression through the months of 2027. So it matters to us in the fandom massively, because it's something we never thought we'd get. If we get to November and they go, screw it, put the holiday special on Disney Plus, why not? If we get to that, that'll be another big thing, because I know it's goofy as hell, but it's like, that's a huge thing that should be in there. But to the broader public, no, I don't think the special editions can compare to this re-release. But at the same time, again, I think it's a demographic thing, isn't it? Because I think there'll be people who don't necessarily follow Star Wars today, but were around back then, or maybe were even turned off by special editions, and that's when they walked away. I think there'll be a lot of people who would be quite curious just to see how it holds up, see what they've done to restore it, or what they haven't done to restore it, as it were. I think it will do well, but it's very difficult to predict the impact anything's going to have, because really it's just down to people's reactions, and we can't control people's reactions.
Final question from Peter Davis. Where does Star Wars sit in the zeitgeist? Has it the potential to lead again, or does it have to follow or catch up? That's a great question. I think it has the potential to lead again. If things go, and we've just talked about the 2027 year and how important that is to Star Wars, because that's teeing up the next 50 years. 77 was a cold start, but it kind of wasn't, because actually when that rolled out around the world, it had come out 6 months before in the States, and it was hot as hell. When it got to us in December, everyone was like crazy eager to see it. So it wasn't a cold start around the world like it was in the States, even though Lucas was a name, American Graffiti had been a big hit. It wasn't the underdog, quite the underdog that you might think it was. But nevertheless, Star Wars is always in the zeitgeist. There's kids who don't know that they know Star Wars quotes even. There's a lot of young kids now who have never really seen Star Wars, but they kind of know what Grogu is. They know what May the Force be with you is, and they understand enough about it. Marvel needs a big lift if that wants to get back to the top of that particular tree. DC's a long way off. Potter is a long way off, although that returns in 2027 as well on television. Trek's always bubbling in the background, but it's not that kind of franchise. It's never going to grab the zeitgeist like Star Wars has. It's a more mature fan base. Yes, I think Star Wars can get back to the top of the tree. And if they just evoke enough, and it sounds like Starfighter's going for that, if they just evoke enough of that old Star Wars spirit and sass, cool visuals and wicked things happening and a great engrossing story that you give a crap about, that's all they need to do. All they need to do. Write the next Beatles album, Mark. It's easy. No, it's not. They've got to catch lightning in a bottle, but I think it can be done. What do you think, Mark?
I think it can be done. Absolutely. I guess the difference is that we still compare that lightning in a bottle to the lightning in a bottle in 77. And I don't necessarily think it's the same kind of lightning these days. It doesn't have a longevity in the same way. Cinema screenings don't last for months and months and months and years. It's in and out, and it's on streaming within 3 months.
Yeah.
And actually what we're finding is pop culture is a thing, it's a massive thing. And for a long time, Star Wars was the franchise, but now it has to fight with all those other franchises. And then once the film's out, people get excited about it. They do their cosplay at a Comic-Con, and then the next Marvel film's out, something like that, and they've moved on and they've done another cosplay of Doctor Strange or whatever. And like the cycle is so much quicker, and things just don't stay around for same year. It's that whole disposable world in which we live in. So it makes it difficult, I think, for Star Wars to stay at the top of a tree unless you've got consistent storytelling. And I think there's so many people. We spoke to many of them at Thank the Maker and at Animal. There's so many talented people who work for Lucasfilm and for productions who know Star Wars, who get Star Wars, and they just need the stories to tell. And then once you've done that, yeah, Star Wars can sit at the top of a tree for as long as it wants to. So, Kyan Bramaran, what are you most looking forward to in 2026?
There's no celebration next year. There is New York Comic Con's 20th anniversary I would love to go to. I am going to Orlando with my good lady wife and my brother-in-law, which we're already looking forward to in September.
Fantastic.
So that will be fun. So I'm very much looking forward to that. On a personal note, I want to push on with some of my writing projects and try and progress some of that, in addition to always pushing on with Fantha and making Fantha bigger and better and more inclusive and more involved for everybody, and a place for us all to come and congregate and enjoy Star Wars. So that's always a passion and a project for me. I would like to go to some European conventions. I really want to go to Power of the Force in Germany in May. So I'm very keen to do that. There's a couple of others that I've looked at. There's one in Italy near the end of the year, Lucca Comic Con, which I'd quite enjoy looking at as well. Echo in Scandinavia as well, which I wouldn't mind a look at. So there's a couple of 3 things there. But the one that leaps out initially is Power of the Force. Jonathan Hipkiss went to the last one. Sander went to the last one. So there'll be a few Fanthas there if it happens. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Some more trips and some more location stuff. I know Matt's the location guy. He really absolutely smashes it with locations. And he's got some amazing trips lined up for next year. I enjoy that as well. So there's a couple of locations I'd like to get to. But yeah, I will say Power of the Force Con is what I'm looking forward to next year. Cool. What about yourself?
Do you know what? It's going to be a weird year. It's going to be a busy year. It's the 40th anniversary of The Son of Odin, which is Elixir's first album.
Yeah.
And so we're playing Greece, we're playing Germany, we're playing Belgium, we're playing New York, we're playing Greece again, and a couple of like UK days. I bet you all those weekends will probably clash with a Comic-Con that I would normally be doing. That's just how it is. There's only so many weekends in the year, and there's only one of you and one of me, and so we can only go to where we want to go. But we're so spoilt for conventions in the UK. I think going to like Europe, because the last time I did a convention in Europe was Celebration Europe 2, and that was by far the most enjoyable celebration that I've been to. Probably because I didn't really have to do much. Didn't have to run a stand or organise any fan club stuff, so that was quite handy.
You were just handing out honorary memberships to people, weren't you?
I was, yeah. Anybody who happened to be around. MCM Birmingham, that's now moved. So it was November. It's now August 5th through to the 7th. So there's lots going on with the Star Wars class with 501st, UK Garrison, the Rebel Legion LP base, and, everybody else, Mandos and that. So it'll be fun. And got Mando and Grogu to look forward to and everything else. So that is ultimately what it comes down to. If you don't have Star Wars on a big screen, then really, do you have Star Wars?
Hello, this is Sam Whitwer, and you are listening to Fantha Tracks.
One more question is from this rather promising young gentleman called Mark Mulcaster.
Ooh.
And he wants to know, hi chaps, what is your most left field prediction for 2026?
I am going to predict that Mark Hamill will return in some form or fashion as Luke Skywalker.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how or what or when. I'm literally thinking this up and it's verbally coming out of my mouth as I think it.
Yes.
There's just something about the way, I know he's pushing SpongeBob and all the other things he's promoting at the moment, and he'll always get asked about Star Wars, but I think there's more in the tank for Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. So I think Mark will come back. I'm not saying he's written a film with Steven Soderbergh and taken it to Bob Iger or anything like that, which would be very cool, but I think that's something to consider. I think Mark Hamill's going to come back as Luke Skywalker. I also, before you give your answer, I just want to say also, 2026 is 10 years since Carrie Fisher passed away.
Yeah.
Not only Rogue One's 10th anniversary, but it's 10 years since Carrie passed. It's 10 years since Kenny passed. So we're getting to those kind of sad anniversaries. Yeah. So I really hope, in the way that we celebrated her when she passed, I hope we remember her at the 10th anniversary. So what about yourself? What's your far out left of field prediction?
Well, it's a bit boring, really, because to be fair, like Mark Hamill coming back, I wonder if he would come back in Mando and Grogu. That would be interesting. Apple buys Disney.
Wow.
Based on the Netflix trying to buy Warner Brothers.
No insider trading, or you've not bought any stocks lately?
Well, I mean, I've got stocks in Disney, not in Apple. It was a conversation with somebody who was basically saying the general overall value of Disney hasn't actually increased much in 20 years. It's still valued about the same amount, whereas Apple is 400 billion. And I know that Disney have started to make agreements with AIs, but basically, if you were to combine the Disney IP with something like Apple, and rather than go, hey Siri, but go, hey R2, can you tell me what the weather's doing today?
Yeah.
That is a winner.
That's a really good shout. And you set your phone off, haven't you?
I totally have. Siri's going, you want what?
That's a really good shout. You should write that one down and we should talk about that next year when we're all living in the world of Apple. There's one more question.
Oh, God.
And this is a contentious question. And you might like it, you might hate it, but I'm going to read it. It's from David Sandground.
Oh, yeah.
And his question is, do you know David?
I know David. He's a Rebel Legion member, and this is a very typical question from David.
I can well imagine. His question, which Mark would win in a fight? Well, I'll give you the straightforward, easy, obvious answer to that one. Mark Calloway, The Undertaker. He would win.
Yeah, he would be the only one who would win. We would hightail it out of there.
I'm a big guy, but I'm surprisingly fast over short distances.
Yeah.
So, I'd be in that Uber before. He could go old school on me. I'd be gone.
I think that answers that one. So thank you very much to everybody who has sent in a question. They are most appreciated. For those who didn't get the call to action and would like to send in a listener's question, or maybe has like a thought or a theory or a counter argument to anything that we talked about today, you can get in touch with us and Mr. Newbold can tell you how you can do it.
Yes, I can. And here is how you can do it.
Email radio@fanthatracks.com. Head to links.fanthatracks.com for links to our social media feeds, Fantha Tracks TV and Fantha Tracks Radio. Thanks to James Semple for the Fantha Tracks intro, Blues Harvest for our Making Tracks opening music, and Mark Daniel and Vanessa Marshall for our voiceovers. New episodes drop Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 o'clock UK time. Our weekly news show, Good Morning Tatooine, goes live Sundays at 9 o'clock UK time on Facebook and YouTube. And remember, Fantha Tracks is absolutely free, so it costs nothing to stay updated on all the latest Star Wars news.
And that's me done for this episode and probably for this year.
I don't think there's much more for me to say other than remember everything on Fantha Tracks, be it Good Morning Tatooine, all the podcasts, all the articles, absolutely free. All for the love of the Force. That's our Christmas present to you. So, until next time, as always, stay safe, take care, and may the Force be with you.
Coming up next on Fantha Tracks Radio, it's Planet Leia.
Oh, look how bright and red it is.